The two scariest holidays of the year are coming up: Halloween and Election Day. This year's election is a contentious one, to say the most, and usually there are some undecided voters split on the issues, because we have so many issues. For the undecided voter, it often comes down to personality of the candidate, whether the other candidate would be a beacon of their community. And that got me thinking, what better measure of someone's community impact than if their house would be the one that I would want to go to when trick-or-treating. There was nothing more exciting to me as a kid than going to the house that we all knew had the king-size candy tray. Those houses were the ones that spurred on a cherished holiday tradition without any reward on their own. So today, let's combine the two spookiest holidays and figure out which US president had the best trick-or-treating house. Important to note, this ranking is not based on the personality or politics of the presidents. I also know basically nothing about architecture. This ranking really has no merit or basis. It's strictly vibes, and vibes alone. We're going in chronological order, so let's get started with the man himself, George Washington, and right off the bat, this is already looking like a good Halloween house. Something you'll hear me say often today: brick chimneys have a nice fall vibe. Couple that with the red paint, the two stairs leading up, already looking like a great option. But we need to remember, this is judging the front of the house, the entrance that we all go to. This is just the back of the house. And you know what? I think it still holds up, because we see there's a third brick chimney. Oh, right. We also got a nice little walkway up to the front entrance. That's another thing you'll hear me say a lot today. A nice walkway to the front door is going to be like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm also a fan of the slanted roof, the angle of that chimney, the slope. This house has such a welcoming aura, and you know what? I think we have a king-size candy house right off the bat. I can see George right out there saying, "Hey kids, let's celebrate this wonderful new union with a Hershey's." So how does one rank a house on Halloween? Well, it's simple: the level of candy and effort. At the top of the scale, we got the king-size candy tray. This one is self-explanatory. These are the houses that you know are a go-to destination on Halloween. Under that, you got some good houses, maybe not king-size quality, but there's definitely some good candy in the mix. The same cannot be said for the loser candy section. These are the houses where you get the sense that you're gonna leave here a little disappointed. You might leave with some bad candy like... who am I upsetting today? Like Milk Duds. I've yet to meet one person who says they like Milk Duds. After that, we go to the bottom where we see a big drop-off in effort put by the household. We got the classic leave a bowl out. There might be some good candy in there, but you wouldn't know. Someone already dumped all of it into their pillowcase 5 minutes before you got there. And then after that, you got the bottom tier. The lights are out. No one's home. Come on. Think of the children. Moving right along, we got John Adams, and I think we got another nice Halloween house right here. The standard wood, you got another brick chimney out there, a nice little 5-panel window with a door in the middle. That's looking like a nice front door too, something that you would enjoy the sight of as you anticipate it opening up for you. But this house is pretty simple in nature. It's not really screaming king size to me, but I think it's safe to say this house is gonna have some good candy. John Adams is probably getting the whole family together. They're probably all witches. They're all witches together. I mean, what more could you want on Halloween? A nice little family tradition right there. Thomas Jefferson. This does look like a good Halloween house, if not for the one pitfall. You got the stairway leading up to the covered deck. I've found in my experience that there are plenty of houses that have had this roadblock because it is so easy to leave a bowl out there. And I hate to say it, I don't think Tommy J beats this roadblock. It's hard to beat that roadblock, I will say. I think he'd be peeking through those nice large windows outside just to keep an eye on the bowl, at least, so I'll give him credit for that. But alas, the bowl is still outside. So a bit of a disappointment for such a nice house. Moving on to James Madison. What are we doing here? So it appears James had quite the house on the plantation, but oh man, not screaming inviting. I mean, just look at the scope of that. You got the 3 different doors that you don't know which one you're gonna knock on. The scale of the house, the fact that there seems to be nothing surrounding the area. But the main thing about it, I mean, you got that gate outside. And if you got a gate outside your home, I can see you just choosing to close those doors. I think we got our first lights off house. Next is James Monroe. Can we get a recovery for the Jameses? Interesting house. The lack of the door is a little off-putting, I will say, but we do have the 2 brick chimneys, the pretty large sloped roof. You also notice we got some pretty bare bones steps leading up to that door. This house is definitely somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna lean to, I think this would be a good candy household. The shed is what brings the recovery here. That seems like a nice cozy little shed. Maybe that is the alternate door they're using to camp outside with their nice little tray of candy. And as you'll see, for all the good candy households, we're gonna give a little costume to the presidents. I think with a chin and jawline like that, the obvious choice is Batman. I mean, that could very well be Batman. John Quincy Adams, JQA. Now I'm gonna give you a moment to look at this house and see if you can notice something. That's right. That's John Adams' house right next to it, keeping the family close together. Even though the same house style, definitely a drop down. You got the lighter paint job. I mean, what are those salmon colored doors? Definitely gives me the vibe of someone who's not as into the traditions as his family is. He's definitely still outside helping out the kids, but I mean, he's not really putting his heart into it. So we're putting him in the loser candy. He looks a little like a milk dud himself, to be honest. It's a school. You don't want to go to school for Halloween. Still looks like a nice cabin. Those rocking chairs are probably there for 200 years at this point. And I said personality would not be included, but Andrew Jackson would definitely be the type of person who would try to scare the kids. And so for that reason, we're going to keep this strictly in the loser candy category. Martin Van Buren. Look at that. That is a Halloween house right there. I have no idea the technical terms of this architecture, but this is a house I would sprint to as a mad dashing 8-year-old. I can see the argument of this being a bowl house. You got the stair lead up with the covered deck, but I think it does break that barrier. You got 12 windows, some nice window panes, the covering on the deck has an accent, and you can see just on the side here, that's a bench. There is nothing more precious to me than a nice bench to sit on. MVB, you are a beacon of this community, no doubt. You are definitely out there with Snickers in hand. William Henry Harrison. Ooh, step down. Once again, the same pitfall, but definitely does not get past it. It's not only that you have the stairs with the covered deck, but you got another set of stairs right there leading up the door. You got 2 good options for bowl placement, and I think it definitely goes into that roadblock. This is definitely a bowl house for Halloween. John Tyler, same thing. You got the stairs on the covered deck. However, once again, it definitely has some redeeming qualities. You got some nice shuttered windows, a nice little walkway. And the other thing I want to point out, if we can just zoom in here, I'm pretty sure those are full pane windows right outside the deck. One of the biggest motivators is the sense of guilt, and I can see plenty of kids staring into those windows looking for someone inside. Not a king-sized house, but definitely a good candy house. And I think it's a safe assumption to say that John Tyler's costume would be David Bowie. Moving on to James Polk. Ooh, James's, man, they are disappointing me today. I know you might say we got the brick chimney. You need dual brick chimneys around these parts, bub. You also got some more bare bone steps, no door. The wood pattern is definitely giving me some pause here. This is not an inviting house. This doesn't look like a house that would put in effort. Another disappointment, to say the least. Next up, Zachary Taylor. This house has a lot of directions it could go in. Definitely looks like a decent house. Not a lot of information because the walkway on the door looks secluded by these bushes. I'm gonna put it on the loser candy tier just because I'm confused. This one I've been looking forward to. Millard Fillmore. This is the cabin that inspired this idea. I went to upstate New York this year to see the solar eclipse with my college roommates, and we saw on the trip back that we were going past the town with this cabin, so we figured, we're not doing anything else today, why not check it out? This was a life-changing experience. My entire worldview shattered around me and was replaced by a stained glass window. This house does not have a stained glass window. Millard Fillmore was known to be the poorest president, and how dare you put him on blast for that? The man's trying his best. This cabin here is a replica. A lot of these cabins were lost to the sands of time. We got to see a rendering of the interior as well when we were in person, but again, we're judging strictly based on the outside. And as I said, this is a welcoming cabin. This is definitely a house that has some good Halloween candy. And I think his costume would be the simple ghost. He rocks the bed sheets. Come on. Oh, Pierce. Franklin, what are we doing here? Another disappointment. I mean, I don't even need to look at the house. That gate says it all. That gate is staying closed in October. Okay, this is an interesting one. Again, plenty of directions this can go in. After much thought, 24 hours, I think this is a sneaky king-size candy house. You got the mossy roof, the red door, some nice bushes outside. You got a bit of an odd staircase lead up, but that one step up to grab the candy is the step of the night. I can see many arguments for this house, but the one I'm seeing, this is the hidden gem, the diamond in the rough. And you got, given those king-size candy, maybe a contentious one, though. Twizzlers. Yeah, I can see Twizzlers being the candy of choice by this guy. But I'm all for it. This is a great house for Halloween, which is not fitting for one of the worst presidents of all time. We got one of the Rushmore boys, Lincoln, Honest Abe, and this one also a little bit of a walkway, a little cobblestone chimney, but nothing really screaming to me that this is one of the houses that you have to hit on Halloween. This might be the house that you skip if you're running a little short on time. If your mom's saying, hey, you gotta be back by 9, it's a school night. So I gotta be honest, Abe, this house ain't doing it for me. Andy, alright, this house is not doing it. You got some more bare bone steps, only one brick chimney, and a pretty dull gray color. Not inviting, but I do think this house would put in an effort, but there is no doubt in my mind that it's gonna be dots. I mean, it has to be dots. There's just no way around that. Ulysses! This house doesn't say Halloween to me. Definitely serves plenty of other purposes. Maybe some town hall meetings or some lively book club discussions. But the 2 staircases, this is easily a house that's leaving a bowl outside. I'm gonna level with you guys. The last video did amazingly well. I have no idea how that happened. A bunch of you probably thought this was just music. Honestly, if you want to leave the party early, I can't blame you. But if you're sticking around for me, we got a banger house coming up. Rutherford B. Hayes, you've done it again, you crazy man. You'll notice that this house is a drawing and not a photo, because this house was lost to us. It was demolished in place of a gas station. A moment of silence for the Hayes house, for this was clearly an outstanding Halloween house. You got a few steps leading up. You got the nice green window panes, definitely reminiscent of the townhouses of the Adams, but it pushes back on that by just having a nice warming vibe, a nice fall foliage. I can see this house absolutely being the one with the big candy tray. Rutherford, you shouldn't have. You're such a beacon of the community. Okay, James Garfield. A little odd on the wood patterns again, which is always a little off-putting, but we got a nice walkway, cobblestone chimney. I really like how the shingles on the roof are just split logs all the way down. You know what? I can see this house definitely having some good candy. And James Garfield's costume is self-explanatory. He's rocking it though. We can all admit he's rocking it. Chester A. Arthur, the mutton chops man himself. I have nothing nice to say. There is no walkway. The yellow paint is not Halloween themed. You got a door within a door. Unnecessary. And to top it all off, you got a lowly chimney stub up here that's barely even trying for the exterior vibe. Straight to the trash. Awful, awful Halloween house. Grover Cleveland, the 2-time president. And I think I'd visit this house twice. By the way, we got a spacious driveway. That's the main thing I'm noticing here. Let's zoom in on this house and get a vibe check. and I'm not liking the vibe. That is definitely a house that is gonna have a bowl right on that top step. Ben Harrison, once again, another house lost to time. This is the one photo I found that had the best view. I'm not liking this. I'm not digging it. This is almost definitely because this is not a great photo to go off of. I can give you a pass, Ben. This looks like a house that would have either the lights out or a bowl. Because I can't see the deck, I gotta give it a lights out. I'm sorry, Ben. Wherever you are, I am so sorry. William McKinley leading us into the 20th century. Oh no. Oh, no. So the photo here, the house has some construction going on. That's not what's throwing me off. Look how close that sidewalk is to the house. This is my suburban upbringing talking, but you gotta have the lead-in to have the full experience, to have the mystery of what is behind that door. I won't judge it too harshly on the sidewalk, but this is strictly in loser candy territory. Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider, and this is a rough ride indeed. This is our first encounter of a New York City house. I really do not have any basis to know how the city trick-or-treating was, but I will say, looking at this, not really enticing, not inviting. This is looking like a lights-out apartment. William Howard Taft. This house is so inviting. And I can hear you already. I thought you were judging strictly on the personality. First of all, how dare you? He's been trying to lose weight. But more importantly, I gotta show you another angle of this house. Look at that walkway. That is a glorious trail leading up to the front entrance. This building would get me excited on its own, but the walkway up would get me with a little spring in my step, rushing up that little uphill slant. This easily is a king-size candy house. I'm very proud of this next one. I don't know what I was on when I made this, but this is one of the best photoshops I've made in a while. Cowabunga, dudes. Woodrow Wilson. Okay, short and simple, this is another house that has the front stairs and covered deck area problem. That's such a bull house, it's not even funny. Warren Harding, pretty standard suburban home. Definitely one of the most modern designs I think we've seen so far. I can see the argument for this being a good candy house, but I'm gonna put it in the bad candy house. This house gives the vibe of a family that would much rather do trunk or treat. How dare you? That is a cop-out. I have heard that trunk or treat has become more popular with the times. And I'm not gonna lie, that does make me sad. Calvin Coolidge. Once again, this is somehow the best photo I could find. I mean, this is easily a good candy house. Not so much for the house, but something about a nice large tree right outside the front door. Just seems inviting. Seems like a mystery to me. But it would be a good candy household. Joe Cool, back in school. Herbert Hoover, same problem. You got the gate, you got the covered deck, you got only one brick chimney? What gives? Yep, no recovering from that one, Herb. This is a lights off home. FDR. Ugh, very similar to the James Madison house. Way too large to be inviting. Thing is, I don't think this house would even have a Halloween bash. This is a lights out house through and through. Harry S. Truman. The S stands for spooky. What more can you want? Quaint little house. Definitely the drawback of the little stub of a chimney. I mean, that's a nice walkway. You got the bushes out front. A nice heavy slope roof. This is saying a good candy household for Halloween. This one's an obvious one. Harry S. Truman is Harry Potter. Don't be confused though. Truman is definitely a Hufflepuff. Dwight Eisenhower coming in with what I believe is a king-size candy house. We got deck covering, no stairs, and it's a shorter deck. I don't think we've seen that yet so far. This is a good trick-or-treating house. I just know it. And the candy he would be handing out is king-sized Mike and Ike's. I'm proud of that one. John F. Kennedy. Once again, keeping it simple. That is a bowl house. You got the stairs, deck covering. If you didn't have that, I could see this being a good candy house. I'm sure there's good candy in the bowl. Just can't get past that roadblock. Not many houses can. Alright, Lyndon Johnson. Once again, you got the same problem. Stairs, deck covering. Richard Nixon. This is pure suburbia right here. When you see the detached roof that has the 2 angles, that's when you know you're cooking with Crisco. Definitely a good candy household. And Richard's costume is, say it with me, Mario. Oh, okay, Gerald. Absolutely serving. This is a nice house. Whoever is in this house now, you gotta take care of your plants. I will say that. That is a nice walkway. I like the color trim around the roof. A nice little deck area too. I don't think this would be a bull deck either. I think we got another king-size candy house right here, which is good. We haven't had too many. And Gerald is going as Luigi. Aw, little partner costume over there. Jimmy Carter, I did not give a ranking, and I'll tell you why. This is a conundrum I've never experienced. You got screen door, separation, entrance. I don't believe I've ever seen this on any of my Halloweens, so I wouldn't know. Do you typically leave the bowl inside the deck of a screen door? Do you leave it outside? Or is this an easy way to sit on the deck and see when the kids are passing by and coming up to your house? I'll place this right in the middle for now, simply because I don't know. We are entering the modern era, so please behave in the comments. These are not endorsements. I'm just looking at houses. I'm apartment hunting in a mysterious way. Ronald Reagan. Yep, once again, stairs, covered deck, easy, bowl. Next, George 41. Could be a lot of things, but it's just a lot going on. Large scale house, what appears to be, you got a deck outside, and I don't even know what this area is. It looks like it could be a greenhouse if you want it to be. It would be a good Halloween party, but nothing on the day. I gotta put that in the lights out category. It's Bill Clinton's time to shine.
Hey, it's me. At this point, I was very tired, and whatever I said for Clinton just didn't make any sense, so I'm gonna fill in the gaps here. In my defense, this house is very different from what we've seen so far. We got some weird green paint lines and a stone foundation on the bottom, and a whole lot of steps leading up to the door, but it is still a stairway leading up to a covered deck. The thing that gave me pause is, are there too many steps where a bowl would not be enough? Some community pressure here. The concrete steps do not make me excited, but I can see this house really going in any ranking, so I'll put it right in the middle. George Bush the 43rd.
I'm not seeing anything special here. You got the little gazebo area, but it's not, that's about all you got. You got the brick chimney, but it's painted gray. You got that dull gray color outside. This could definitely be another lights out house, like Bush the 41st, but I think there'd be a little bowl on the outside of here, so we'll put that in the bowl category. Obama. It looks like it might be a long, lengthwise deck, but not wide. No walk-up area too. I also really like the foliage outside. You know, strictly on vibes alone, I think this would be a good Halloween house. Donald Trump. You got a nice walkway. You got the sloped roofs. That also looks like a nice door to knock on. This looks like a household that serves some good candy, and it's definitely boosted by the fact that I can see the whole neighborhood. We have the Biden house here. Once again, we got the stairs, the awning. The awning is really nice. Made me think about it for a little more than I should have, but this is another bowl house through and through. The house next to it, that house is definitely the king-size one of the street. I'm also going to include Kamala, because I would hate for this video to be outdated in 2 weeks. And you'll see here I got 2 photos just to understand what we're working with. So you got the staircase lead up, but from what I can tell, don't think it's a bowl house, even though we got the covering here. There's not a lot of space for a table. It also looks like a door that would open out, so you would be really, it would be quite the tight squeeze. But also nothing about this house is really saying Halloween to me, so we're gonna place it right in the middle tier as well.
Hello, it's me again. I forgot to end the video. Thank you for watching. I thought this would be a fun little idea. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I had a lot of fun making these photoshops. Hope you have a happy Halloween, and adequate election day. Remember to vote, even in the non-presidential elections. Every year matters. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.